Hey ho, Monk on the Hill here. I did a bit of research for keywords and it turned out that people are looking for how to mount an automatic chicken door opener. Well, slap it on the wall, attach the door to the string and you're good. But wait, there's a little bit more to it. This was my previous chicken door with a chicken coop behind it, and here they could walk out. And here it was actually that easy. Let's assume that that's a chicken door opener. Slap it on. String comes straight down. Hook it on the door and you're good to go. For the door to slide in, I just used some old rails of a curtain and screwed them on a board. And because the metal is pretty thin, because of the weight, you want it to be as thin as possible, I added behind, like on the inside and on the outside, additional supports that it won't bend. So it's supported on all four sides and it's pretty stable if it's closed. This is my model. It's from ChickenGuard and it's the extreme version. I picked that like 6 or 7 years ago, and the first 5 years it was hanging on the front wall of my barn and it was exposed to all weather conditions. That's why I picked the extreme version. I think nowadays all of their models are extreme. It's about temperatures, because here in Bulgaria the winters used to get down to minus 20 degrees Celsius. Not so much lately thanks to global warming, but I'm still happy I'm having it and it served me well all this time. The only issue I had every now and then was a door jam. That means the door won't close or open anymore, and it usually was the string inside was wiggling up. I was always thinking putting it under a roof, and as you can see here, the setup, to make it simple, I actually had to have it right above the door on the wall here, only to find out that if it's too much under a roof, then the light sensor really has some problems with picking up the light, and I had to adjust this. Now, right now, it has an indicator light that tells me the batteries are running low. So last night it did not close as it should, but thank God I have a camera inside, so I saw it, and like 10 o'clock at night I went out and closed it by hand just by pushing a button. But that means you have the chance to have a look inside how it is set up. So let's open it up. It's closed with 4 screws. This was always my only concern about this model, because if there's a door jam and the problem is about the string from the inside, then you always had to unscrew that, and you will see from the inside dealing with a messed up string isn't that easy. And even changing the batteries isn't that easy. But if the setup is right, then they last quite a while, like almost a year. You have to lift that carefully because there are cables attached. The whole thing is pretty stable, so you can leave that hanging. Let's detach the battery first, like so. Yeah, much easier. So it's a pack of 4. Now that's the thing, if the string is messed up in here, you have to unscrew everything that's holding up in there. I think it's these 4 screws to take the whole thing out and rearrange the string. But I found out what was the cause of that, and I'll show you later on. So let's put the batteries back in. There it goes. Now that it's off, here are 2 connector wires. It's pretty clearly set up. Black, red, motor. These are these 2 wires here that go on there. So maybe batteries first. Connected. Battery pack back in. Closing up. Screws back in. With the indicator light that's now off because of the new batteries, it's of course best if you have that mechanism inside of your house or wherever you're passing by on a regular basis. Now this one is behind my house and I don't see it every day, so that's why this happened last night. But now I know it'll be good again for quite a while. Now this brand or model has quite a nice menu in there. I guess all other brands have more or less the same system. You can push it another time to enter the menu. There you have the open settings. Opening settings by sensor, by timer, and exiting it, or manual. I'll always go with sensor, that's light sensor, because chickens don't wear watches, so they don't care about the daytime. It's all about the sun. Then there are the close settings, that's the same. So you can have a different open and close setting, one by time, one by sun or something. Set the time, but since I'm going with the sun, I don't need that. Then there's the door calibration, that's pretty easy. It'll tell you to use the open and close buttons to get to the position where it's fully open or fully closed. Then you're good. Next is lux adjustment. That's pretty nice. You can set on how much light it should open and close. And to find out this number, there's a read function. You just go to read, push the button, and it'll make a light reading. So this is the light that's right now. That means you just go one time out in the morning when you want the door to open, and one time evening when you want it to close. Make a light read, set the numbers accordingly, and the thing runs automatically. Then you have different languages. You can exit the menu again, or just don't touch any button for a while, and the menu will close and all goes in operating mode. Now when I built this new door, I was first thinking more chickens, bigger door, and it was quite wide. I was thinking like that 2 chickens can pass each other, but it's actually not necessary. And there was really a downside to it, because the door itself got so heavy that the battery of the opener drained pretty quickly. Now on a Amazon page I found where these openers are sold, I found this picture. They said it's a pulley system, and I set it up exactly like that with wheels. And because I had to move the opener from the wall further out to get more sun, it's still covered though. I needed to work with even more wheels. So one is here, the next one there. And according to the picture, I set up a pulley system here with multiple wheels. I'm not too good in physics, but after looking at it, that wasn't a pulley system. The only thing that happened was, with all the wheels around, the friction on each wheel just added up and the batteries drained even faster. So the first thing I did was making the door smaller again, and then put in some of my own brain and thought this would be more of a pulley system, having the string attached up here, have it pulling around the wheel and going up where the pull is coming from. And again, here I had door jams until I found out what the problem was. As soon as the door opens a little bit, the chickens go crazy about it, push through, so they push up the door. And that causes the string in here to wiggle up. And on that system here, it happened that the string went out of the wheel. So again, like the door was total mess. And the simple solution was this nut here. As soon as there's less tension on the string, it'll just come down. So when they're pushing up the door, they push up the door and the bolt nut will just fall down and hold the string around the wheel. And this small pulley system, so it's actually only one, there are not multiple ones, is good enough that the battery holds up quite a while. Everything's working fine now, no more problems. The system with a bolt nut, of course, only works together with a pulley system. If you only have one string hooked up here, you might still run into the problem of a door jam, so to say, a string jam. And here again I used old curtain sliders on the sides. Here I welded them on a straight piece of metal. Then really nothing is hindering the door from sliding in there. The one before I screwed it on, so sometimes the door got hung up on the screws inside. But of course you can get yourself a whole system with sliders and door, and everything will fit perfectly. The only problem I found with this, with the opening by light mechanism, was on a really lousy day when it's rainy and super dark clouds around in the evening, that thing will close pretty early. And that's one of these days when it might happen that some chickens stay outside and you have to bring them in by yourself. But I think the people from ChickenGuard are working on a smart device that's added to it. So there might be a workaround then where you also can put in weather conditions, but we'll see. So is a chicken opener worth it? In my opinion, it is. You don't have to get up that early to let the chickens out. You don't have to think about it. At night it'll close mostly. So if you want to sleep in or even leave your chickens for the weekend alone, yes, I'm loving it. I don't want to be without it. So for me, it's thumbs up, and maybe you give a thumb up for this video and hit the like button. The only downside with a pulley system is that, I don't know, again, I have no idea about physics, but I think it doubles about the time that it takes to open and close. But that shouldn't be your problem. You don't have to stay here and wait till it's opening and closing. But I know that's the most fascinating part, to see that thing closing by itself. So I will push the button and you'll see how slowly it is, so I'll speed it up a bit. Fascinating, isn't it? Oh, wait. Problem now. Because let me show you. My opener has this YouTube subscription counter. That means it'll only open again if you hit the subscription button. So, for the sake of my chickens, please subscribe. And I hope I gave you enough information to make a decision. So the brand ChickenGuard is putting in quite some thoughts and I can recommend them. They worked really good for me. So this is my take on the chicken door opener, and if you're interested in more chicken videos, here's a little selection about feeders, water, coop setup, and on and on. Enjoy!